Rev up your engines!
Well, here's something I can't wait to try out. Ford's new Maverick hybrid pickup is going to get 40 miles per gallon in the city and start at $19,995. Well, you might wonder, how can Ford make a little hybrid truck for only $19,900? Well, to begin with, they're making them in Mexico. They're all going to be made in Mexico. So far, anyways. Not exactly the bastion of quality. A new design makes me kind of wonder, is it going to hold up? It has Ford's new hybrid drivetrain that they developed in-house. This isn't like the other stuff that was pretty much just a copy of the RAV4 hybrid system. Ford's own system that they're making. It's a new system. Who knows if it's going to last? Only time will tell. As old Scotty says, wait a few years to see how they hold up. They might all be clunkers, they might be good, or they might have quite a few problems that you don't want to get one. You never know. To make something that can get 40 miles a gallon in a small pickup truck, and they start at $19,995. I'm kind of wondering about quality control here. Awful cheap for a hybrid. They're complex. They cost more money to make. They're making one that's going to be a 4-cylinder engine and a hybrid engine for that price. We'll see what happens when they come out. They're not out yet. When they come out, it's a new kind of idea too, a small pickup. It's smaller than the Ranger. They decided to make a real small pickup. Hey, Americans might want something to pull a certain amount of stuff around in. They want to drive around a cute little pickup. They got seats in front and back, so it's not like a conventional old-style pickup truck. There's only a seat in the front. They got seats in the front and the back. With the hybrid, 40 miles a gallon in town, stopping and going. That's insane for a pickup truck. So when they come out, I can't wait till somebody buys them and I can try one out and see what they're like. If Ford's listening, send me one, but I doubt if they will, because most of the manufacturers these days, they're not exactly happy with me pinpointing all their failures. They used to send me cars all the time, but they don't anymore. Doesn't surprise me that they don't, though. Well, now there's another fuel in the mix that may revolutionize things. There's a new renewable fuel that's 3 times more powerful than gasoline. Guess what it is? It's a mix of ammonia and hydrogen. The problem with hydrogen, it's got to be stored under high pressures, hard to move around. Ammonia is a lot easier. There's a company called AmPower that's headed by an ex-NASA executive who's trying to do just that. Use an ammonia base and hydrogen as a fuel supply. Instead of having a hassle of dangerous, high-pressured hydrogen, ammonia, liquid ammonia, is made of 1 nitrogen atom and 3 hydrogen atoms. So there's a lot of hydrogen in it. It's easy and safe to store. And of course, ammonia has been used for all kinds of things anyways. By the year 2027, it's been predicted that the global ammonia industry will be $70.3 billion. And there's now a supply ship called the Viking Energy that's being retrofitted with the 2-megawatt ammonia fuel cell vehicles. It's already like the fuel cell vehicles that they have that run on hydrogen, only it will run on ammonia instead. They can get rid of the nitrogen. Nitrogen's an inert gas. Most of the air we breathe is nitrogen. Not a bad idea. If hydrogen itself's a hassle, use ammonia that's got a whole bunch of hydrogen in it. Guys, that's a pretty interesting idea. Who knows what technology is going to pop up? You can mess around with the atoms. The whole thing, of course, is the supply chain. And ammonia is a lot easier in the supply chain than hydrogen, so they might just switch it all to ammonia. They already know how to make it cheap enough. It's not going to pollute either because it's just nitrogen and hydrogen, and nitrogen is an inert gas. You can throw all the nitrogen out. It doesn't hurt anything. Who knows what the future's going to be? And of course, if this pans out, that's the end of lithium-ion battery cars. You got to have all that lithium. You got to recharge them, blah, blah, blah. If you got ammonia and you're running your cars on ammonia, to me, it makes a lot more sense than all this battery nonsense that people are screwing around with. Love and Lilac 77 said, my son's 2013 Journey traction control light is on. All I did was use a windshield washer. I didn't push the traction button. He says the light went off for a short time and came back on. What could be wrong? If it had anything to do with you pushing that button, it means that that's shorting out. The button that you're pushing on the steering column, that's shorting out, and that can short out and then short out the traction control too. But traction control is a very, very complex system. Once that light comes on, the only way you're ever going to figure it out is pay a guy like me to hook up his high-level scan tool and analyze the system and say, well, you got a bad sensor, you got a bad module, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. Normally in the traction control, it's the wheel speed sensors that screw up and then it trips the light. But the only way you're going to know is by plugging in a scan tool, looking at the codes, and then watching the data. Let's say it says left front wheel sensor, and then you drive it and you look at the data, and you see that 2, 3, and 4 wheels show 40 miles an hour, but that one shows 0. You know that one's broken. Then you go and see if a wire broke or if the sensor's gone bad. They're high tech. You'd have to check out. If that stalk on your switch is going bad, yeah, it could short out and make it go on too. Keep pushing the squirter stuff, and if it doesn't make any difference, then it's not that. I doubt if it's that. It's probably wheel speed sensor. That man super cool says, how do I get more power from my Toyota Venza? I got a 2012 4-cylinder Venza, and I want to make it go faster. What about headers and coilovers? I want to get more power. I'm from Ontario. It has 200,000 kilometers. You got a relatively high-tech variable valve timing I Toyota engine. I would personally leave it alone. The only way you're going to get actual power is by either building the engine up, which costs thousands of dollars and voids any kind of warranty, or putting a supercharger or a turbocharger, which costs a small fortune. Those aren't racing vehicles. If you would have wanted more speed in the Venza, you should have got the V6 engine, not the 4-cylinder engine. They're good enough to get you going down the road. They're not bad, they got enough horsepower to them. You can't get actual horsepower out of any modern car without doing radical, super expensive, multi-$1,000 jobs. Be happy with what you got, that it's running down the road. They're very dependable engines. They're very dependable cars. If you want to make them faster, you're going to spend a small fortune. That's just how it is these days. When I was a young mechanic, yeah, we could screw around. We could put a bigger carburetor on. If you actually put headers on that, you might gain like 6 horsepower. You wouldn't even notice the difference. And it would be an awful lot of work. It would mess with the computer system. Your check engine light would come on. So be happy with what you have. Junior Pozo says, my truck shakes when I'm accelerating. I got a 2000 Harley Davidson Ford F-150 supercharged V8 engine, 200,000 miles. So I'm on the freeway and accelerate. My truck starts to shake. I don't know, what could it be? Generally, if it does that only when you're accelerating, it's one of two things. Pray that it's the universal joints on your drive shaft that are warning when they get stressed when you accelerate, it starts shaking, right? Pray it's that. Because if it's not that, unfortunately, you got a Ford truck with 200,000 miles on it. Odds are the transmission is starting to wear. And when they do, when you accelerate hard, it'll start shaking because the transmission's shaking inside because it's starting to wear out. That or the torque converter starting to wear out. And either way, to replace the torque converter, you got to pull the transmission off anyways. And with 200,000 miles on it, I can guarantee you that transmission needs a rebuild soon because it's getting old. I tell a lot of people, hey, buy a factory rebuilt one from Ford. If you do, they come with a good warranty and they generally will last a long time too. Guys that tend to fix them, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. I read something that 33% of the rebuilt transmissions in the United States done at these rebuilding places don't work right. That's why you'd want a factory rebuild one. They cost a little more, but they're going to last longer too. Johnny Rumlick says, I got a rattling noise when I drive at high speeds, like a coin in a clothes dryer. The noise seems to come from the rear wheel, but it could be the front wheel. Noises can bounce all over the place. It's very hard to tell. Do make a video and then go to the Ask Scotty community at ScottyKilmer.com and post the URL of the YouTube video. I'll listen to it and tell you what noise I think it is. Finding noises, not as hard as you might think. I recently got a new, and yes, it is Chinese-made tool that came with 6 sensors, long wires, a receiving unit, and headphones. You can put each one of those sensors anywhere in the car and then listen, and you'll hear where the rattling noise is coming from. Generally, a rattling noise like that at high speeds when you're taking off means that your timing chain's worn or you got bad gas, and it's the valves rattling. Post the URL on ScottyKilmer.com. I'll listen to it and tell you. Jerry Brim says, why does my car continue to crank a long time before it starts? I had the MAF sensor, throttle body cleaned. I had the injector cleaned with BG44K and other cleaners. Today I put a crankshaft sensor on it, and it just cranks too long. As long as it's cranking good enough, have the battery checked. If it's weak, that could do it. Even though it's cranking and it doesn't start. I've seen cars that would crank and not start, and the only thing I did was replace the battery after I tested, said the battery was weak, and they started right up because electrical parameters, you get low voltage. It can crank but not start in modern cars. That said, generally has to do with the fuel pump. If you hit crank, and finally starts, and all that other stuff you did cleaned it, didn't do anything at all, odds are your fuel pump is wearing out. Have it pressure tested when it's cold, and if the pressure's low, replace the fuel pump if it bothers you. Sometimes they can go years that way and still start, but if it bothers you, do that. It's crank spray a little starting fluid. If it runs right away, then you know the pump's not pumping. Frank 53 says, how do I fix evap trouble light? I got a 2000 Tundra. I got PO 441 and 446. I changed the charcoal canister, purge valve, vacuum hose, smoked the evap system, and the check engine light's coming back. What could it be? Those are very complex systems, and unfortunately, if you don't have a Toyota dealer level scan tool, you can't do bi-directional testing. You did the obvious obvious things. So it's not something obvious. You didn't say you replaced the gas cap. It would be rather hilarious if that was the problem. Put in a new Toyota OEM gas cap, and if that fixes it, you can kick yourself for not doing that first. But if you did that, or if you do that, it doesn't fix it. You're going to have it checked by a guy like me that's got a dealer-level scan tool who can do actual bi-directional testing, not just guessing with a part here or there. You guess with the obvious parts, but there's a lot of what are called VSVs, vacuum switching valves on that system. One of those could be bad. And the only way you're going to be able to test them is with a dealer-level scan tool, other than just guessing and buying them one at a time and hoping one of them fixes it. On the other hand, if it runs okay, who cares? That's all BS anti-pollution. A little bit of the vapors from the gasoline might go into the air. Hey, your car's burning and throwing clouds of carbon dioxide out. A little bit of gasoline vapor really isn't going to hurt anything. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.